In this video, I'm going to be building a 22-gallon bookshelf minimalist naturescape, kind of like this one here. And that is going to be part of the expansion project I'm doing on my fish rack. Everything's getting bookshelf aquariums on all of the racks here just to expand my breeding project. So we did this one in the last video. That was the guppy breeding project. This one's going to be the orange Sunkist Neocaridina Shrimp breeding project. Boy, that's a mouthful, isn't it? But this 5 gallon is going to go into an aquarium just like this. It's down here out of the frame of the camera. And then when that's done, we're going to be doing the blue dream tank as well and expanding that one. So let's show you the tank and put a background on it and scape it and all the other stuff you're waiting for in this video. The reason for this expansion project is quite obvious. In the guppy breeding tank, we just had way too many guppies for a 10 gallon. And the same is true with this shrimp tank here. It is way overstocked for a 5 gallon. The shrimp are just breeding like crazy. And, well, the algae is taken over because of the bioload that these little shrimp are producing. I do heavily feed them, so we've got algae that is just everywhere. So we've got algae that's all over the glass. We've got algae that's in the moss itself. I had to remove the carpeting plants, which is dwarf baby tears, and start growing them immersed in this tub here just to try and save the plant. I will be reusing it in a different aquascape. But the tank has just run its course, and it's time to tear it down and put something different in there and expand the shrimp breeding process. And down here on the third shelf of the fish rack is a 22-gallon bookshelf aquarium just like this one. It's 36 inches long, 12 inches tall, 12 inches deep. And it is a float glass tank. I didn't go opti-white, though in hindsight I probably should have. But even though it's float glass, it's still see-through, and you see all of my wires and power strips and stuff back behind the tank, and we don't want to see that stuff. So we're going to have to put a background on it. And to do that, I'm going to put a white spray background on, just like up here. I normally use Plasti-Dip in a spray can, but in this video we're going to try something a little bit different. I've got Gorilla's waterproof patch and seal rubberized sealant spray. That's a mouthful. It's essentially Plasti-Dip, I think. We're going to give it a shot. It might work. It might not work. I know the Plasti-Dip works. If it doesn't work, what's the harm? It's glass. We'll just peel it off. So once all that's done, we'll be back and we'll start scaping this thing. Back in the office, as you can see, the background is on there. Went pretty well. The Gorilla brand rubber spray there. It goes on a little bit thicker. It comes out a little chunkier, if that makes sense. But because the can was larger, I did have enough to get full coverage on the back. I think it's fine. There's no light spots that I can see at this point. And it's on my desk because it's the only place that I have long enough to scape something with an open top. I can't scape it in the rack there because I can't get my hands in there. So I'm going to grab some hardscape that I just got chilling around the house here. I did buy some Fluval Stratum, a big bag, for the aqua soil, but I don't think it's enough to do all aqua soil, so I'm going to find some bags of rocks I got laying around or gravel and some hardscape stuff, see what we can come up with. I have absolutely zero plan for this aquarium right now, but I think I want to keep it minimal, so let's see what I come up with. Alright, I have a couple of options for hardscape here, but I do know I want it to be right side heavy. The tank above it is left side heavy, and I want to balance that out on the rack. I don't want all the aquariums to have all the hardscape on one side. So option number one is I have this piece of spiderwood here. It's a chunky boy, but kind of plain. You know, there's a couple different variations how I could set it. It does reach to the middle of the tank, so that's good. I might use that. Second option I have is this little guy here. Very interesting, a little more detailed than the last piece, but smaller, and so it doesn't quite take up all of the aquarium. We'll see about that one. I also have these various pieces of driftwood or river logs or whatever that I collected from nature, so I have that option as well. Maybe we could do something there. That actually looks kind of good just as it is, but we'll figure some stuff out here. What I'm going to do, guys, is play around with different rock and hardscape, save you the boredom of that time lapse. All right, guys, this is what I came up with here. I've decided to use both pieces of spiderwood here, and I've got two different granite rocks. One of them is kind of a white granite without as much of the black crystals in there. This one has a little more variation to it. This is going to be covered up by mostly gravel and gravel bed, that is, and aqua soil, so I don't think you're going to see too much of it. I'm going to put a gravel bed down on the right side to raise this up a little bit. It'll add more visual interest. It'll create a heavier visual weight over here and won't make this rock look as big because it's going to be filled in with aqua soil. It's not 100% perfect, and it's not, the best hardscape ever, and I know I'm using even numbers, but it seemed to be visually interesting to me with all these little twigs and stuff sticking out. So I think we're going to be fine. For the aqua soil, we have Fluval Stratum. You can't see the top of the bag, but I promise you it's Fluval Stratum. I got 17.6 pounds of it. It's not quite enough to do 100% aqua soil. So I'm going to get a gravel bed in here, show you that, and then we'll pour the aqua soil in there and move on with this aquascape. All right, we got it raised up a little bit with some gravel there. I did a mixed gravel, so there's some large pieces, there's some small pieces to kind of lock everything together. And that should just add enough height and stability for me to be able to glue this stuff. There's enough gap underneath for me to get aqua soil in there, so you're not going to see any of this stuff. I'm going to glue these pieces together with some paper towel and liquid super glue, lock it all down, and then we'll get some aqua soil in there. All right, our only real visible glue point is right there. We've got another one back here. This is paper towel, liquid super glue, and then I put some sodium bicarbonate or baking soda on top of it there and sprayed it with some water. So it should be rock solid. This piece is attached by 3 points. This one is attached by 2 points right here. Hopefully it's good enough. I mean, that's a lot of spider wood and it likes to float. So if it floats, it floats. Let's get some aqua soil in here and just roll the dice. All right, guys, it's time to add about 17 pounds of Fluval Stratum here. Now, the reason I went with this aqua soil was simply price. So right now on Amazon, and this is filmed 11/11 of 23, so November 11th of 23, it is on sale for 40% off, saving you $25. This 17.6 pound bag was $38.57. So you can't go wrong there. I've never used Fluval Stratum before, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. Let's see how it does. I know a lot of people love this aqua soil. I'm going to give it a go. Well, there we go. That doesn't look too bad. I like how it filled in these areas here. It looks pretty natural, like things are sitting natural, right? All right, time to select some plants for this aquascape, and as a guy that has 13 aquariums at this point, I have plenty of plants to choose from. I already started to pull this one out and then remembered I hadn't grabbed the camera. This is an Anubias, I think it's Fraziri or something along those lines. I'll put the name up there, but I pulled it up out of the substrate and you can see this little monster has gone crazy. Very, very, very slow growing plant, but that's what I want for this aquascape. I'm also going to take some of this Anubias Barteri here. I'll show you what else I gather up from all the other aquariums. Look at this thing. I was going to use it as one plant, but I think we're going to scatter this around and propagate it into quite a few different plants. That's amazing. You might ask yourself, Steve, why are you destroying this beautiful 75-gallon aquarium with all these healthy, long-growth plants in there? Well, I'm going to be redoing this tank and doing a different aquascape in it, so there's no harm in pulling some plants out of here. Not only do I have enough, but I want to do something different. With all the plant growth in here, old Billy Boy, he doesn't have much room to swim around anymore, so we want to redo it for his happiness. And that means we can pull some plants. In the 40-gallon grow out, I've been storing this Hydrocaudal tripartita or species Japan here, this clover looking stuff, and it's not really doing too good in any of the tanks, but I'm going to give it one more shot and I'm going to trim it down into little pieces and plant it in some aqua soil, see if we can get it to grow in there. And over here in the orange-eyed blue tiger fish bowl here, look at these little guys, they're pretty cute. But I've got some Elatine hydropiper that I tried to grow in here. It is finally taking root and starting to grow in, but I decided to go another route and add Glossostigma in the back, which we all know is just going to take over the tank. So this little piece of hydropiper right here and this bushel of hydropiper. I'm going to pull that out, put it in this Aquascape. It'll be good to propagate it in a larger aquarium that's going to get a little bit more light. And I do want to keep the carpet low like this in the new shrimp tank because I sell these shrimp and I want to be able to catch them. So we're going to pull out this hydropiper and give it a new home. And special bonus for my subscribers, you guys remember your subscriber build aquarium? Well, here it is. It's doing great. I've got to trim this Bacopa up. It is getting too bushy and too tall. We want to keep that nice and low, even though it looks pretty good. Your Rotala Walichi is kind of making a comeback there. A little bit of algae, as you can see. I've got to do some lily pipe cleaning here. You got some kind of fuzzy thing going on in your aquarium. We're going to take care of that. And the H-Raw, it's doing okay. I did a very small trim on it because we had some algae on the upper leaves. But just a quick update there for you guys that remember the subscriber build aquarium. Still looking great. Alright guys, planting time. Here is the plan for the plants. In the back here, we're going to put the Hydrocotyl species Japan. I have it all trimmed out here in little tiny pieces, and we're going to try and just plant it all in the back corner. I know it's going to look weird right now, but the idea is that it fills in kind of this whole background area and spreads underneath this wood and just does whatever it wants to do. Then in the bucket here, we've got our epiphyte plants. They're going to go semi-planted in the soil. This is very controversial, but the stems I'm going to put in the soil, the rhizome's going to stay up on the top, and man, let me tell you, they grow like crazy when you do it that way. Those are going to go somewhere here in the center. I'll figure out exactly where they're all going to go. Obviously some Anubias right down here in this corner. That little area looks just perfect for some Anubias barteri. And over on the left side here in this big open area is where we're going to do our propagation carpet experiment with the hydropiper. We only have a little bit of it here. I'm going to spread it out into little teeny tiny pieces here. It's going to look ridiculous. But as I said in the beginning of this video, we are doing a minimalistic aquascape for the time being until it grows in. Now I'm going to assume that you don't want to see a montage of me sticking plants in soil. I've kind of adopted this rule on my channel where I try and cut out the boring stuff like placing wood for an aquascape or hardscape and planting plants. I just think you guys skip past it anyway, right? But if you want to see that stuff, leave me a comment, let me know, say, hey, we want to see every little detail, and I'll make videos that way. If you like it this way, leave a comment and say, yeah, cut out the boring stuff, just show us the finished product. That's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to plant this, and then I'll show you what it looks like dry planted. Then we'll fill it up. All right, guys, we've got our plants in here. I know it looks absolutely ridiculous here, this hydropiper. Sorry for the reflection as well. But coming across, we got a little Anubias Batari right there. The other Anubias, I think Fraziri. I'm going to have to double check again, but I'll put it on the screen, the correct name. Got some stuffed in there. A little bit more of Anubias here, and a final Anubias there. Moving to the back here, this is where all of the species Japan is. I know it looks ridiculous right now, but hopefully it will kind of spread its way like down this crevice and kind of creep along the front and I don't know, make something cool. I told you, minimal aquascape. I've got the tank positioned in the fish rack and it's all filled up here. This is the initial look. Very barren, isn't it? Like I said, this is more of a grow-in project than a plant and make a beautiful aquascape right off the bat kind of project. I'm going to let the water clear up a little bit overnight. I do have a filter in it. Back here behind the tank, we're running a True Aqua Nano filter. It's right down there, you can see. Nice and hidden. They actually provide pretty good water flow for these long tanks. If you've been an OG on the channel, you know that I used to complain about them being too powerful for the shrimp tanks. Well, now we have a shrimp tank that's 22 gallons and just the right flow. So I'm going to drop a little API AccuClear in there, not sponsored, and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow morning once it settles in. It's now been a couple of days since I filled the aquarium up and it's settling in nicely. Looks nice and clear on camera, but I'm going to show you that we are going through our bacterial stage here. If we come in real close on the wood, you can barely see at the very edges just a little bit of biofilm there. This is very common with the spiderwood, that you get that white, fuzzy, slimy kind of stuff all over the spiderwood here. Just a natural process of it breaking in. But if we come around here to the side of the aquarium, now you can get a better shot of kind of the cloudiness there. So we do have a little bacterial bloom going on. Nothing major, and it's all completely normal. It's been another week, guys. The tank's still doing good. No algae outbreak or anything, but we do have a lot of that white slimy biofilm. It's even down here on the substrate. Let me bring you in closer and show you. So if we come right down here, zoom you in, you might be able to see it there. All of the white slime moving over to the wood. You may be able to see kind of on the outer edges there, that halo of white slimy. That's all biofilm. And that is food for the shrimp. So that tells me that this tank is ready to move all of those orange neos down here into this tank. They're going to have plenty of stuff to eat, and they're going to help me clean up the tank. First thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to test the water just to make sure that we're good, and then I'm still probably going to do a big water change, but I want to see where it's at. That'll tell me whether the whether the tank has cycled or not. So I'm going to do these water tests, show you the results. Okay, our tests have been sitting here for 5 minutes. You can probably already tell that they're good, but let's put them against the white background of the sink so you can really see. We're yellow on both the ammonia, which is here on the left, and nitrate, which is on the right. I don't test for nitrite because I think it's useless, because you're not going to get nitrate without nitrite. So if ammonia is 0 and nitrate is 0, that's all I care about. So the water in the aquarium is actually good, but I know that it's a little bit hazy, because even if I come right up to the top, you can just see kind of a little haze in the water. So I'm going to do a nice big water change on it anyway, just to get everything ready for our new shrimpies. Well, not new shrimp, but the new habitat for the shrimp. I'm just going to do the water change. As a reminder, in case you forgot, here's our 5-gallon that all of these orange Neocaridinas are coming from. Whew, it's going to be a big process to tear this down and transfer all the shrimp, but they're going to look amazing in there. Alright, water change is done, looking great. I wiped down the inside of the glass as well, got some of that slime off of there just so you have a nice clear view of the shrimp release. I'm going to tear that tank down and gather all the shrimp up. I'm not going to film that and put it in this video because it's pretty boring. I'm going to take everything out of the aquarium and then catch all the shrimp. So get ready, because here comes the shrimp release. All of the shrimp have been caught. All of them have been counted. Well, a rough count. And I got about 480 shrimp. So, are you ready for one of the largest shrimp releases on YouTube? Let's do it. The shrimp have spread out and settled in a little bit, and man, there's a lot of shrimp in here, but they look a lot better in this tank than they did in that 5-gallon. They're also definitely enjoying that biofilm. That's going to sustain them for a couple of days. Look at all the little baby shrimp down here in this area. That was probably the hardest part, was getting all these little teeny tiny baby shrimp. But I'm pretty sure I got every single one of them, so nobody was lost. Man, what a project this was, huh? And I'm still not done because there are yellow shrimp in here. Genetics have taken over and now we got yellows. I want to separate those, put them in another aquascape that I'm about to do, and start colonizing the yellow shrimp. So it never ends. If you got shrimp, there's always work to be done. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. The aquascape is super simple, but you know, I do sell these shrimp and I want to be able to catch them pretty easy. So that was kind of the purpose behind it. Thanks so much for sticking through the long video. If you do enjoy this content, you know what to do. I'll see you guys on the next, aquarium build.